title of this poem is called Insincere. And it's basically talking about how men run game on women, women run game on men, and the negative effects it can have on somebody spiritually. I think about every woman's heart that I've ever broke often. Think about how I use flattery to soften their defenses just enough to bring their guard down. Just enough to get in touch with how they felt inside. Just enough to bring their drawers down. Just enough to get in touch with how they felt inside. I would tell them all the right things in all the wrong ways. Call them to tell them that they're beautiful and to have a nice day because I knew that no other man was doing that, so I would gain their trust. Convince them I wasn't on no bogus stuff and fill their head with hot air from my chocolate charm until they went cuckoo for my Cocoa Puffs. Because once I had them in the bowl, all I had to do was milk it as spoon feed her trust in my lips, kiss. And kiss her insecurities goodbye. Wrap her securities around my waist until I'm insecurely in her thighs as the insecurities in her eyes were crying out, don't hurt me. I trust you. As I look her dead back in her eyes with my eyes and say, don't worry, I lust you. With an erection harder than the heart that I had towards their feelings. I was no less of a prick than the pricks that were sticking them purposely. The only difference between the way they did them and the way I did them was I convinced them I was doing them earnestly. Because the truth is, honestly, I truly did care for them. I just went about the wrong way in expressing how a godly man should love them. I would sit and take the time to listen to them complain about their husbands. How my husband doesn't understand my passion for poetry. How my husband isn't there for me the way that you're supporting me. How the fact that you come to my shows and listen to me shows me that you noticed me when I felt no one else cared. And I would give them the attention outside of their marriage that inside of their marriage they liked elsewhere. And in my insincerity, I chose to fill the void of the loneliness they felt there. But even sincere motives in the wrong direction could break a woman's heart. Because with her trust, soon after comes her heart in her hands. Sister, never, ever, ever give your heart to a man. Because your heart's your most valuable possession. And through a lot of women giving me their hearts and me breaking them, I learned a very valuable lesson. That a man will never be able to protect your heart in the way that God does. Because a man will never be able to affect your heart in the way of God's love. Because God's love is perfect. And because God resides in your heart, when it comes to your heart, it's only natural that he deserves it. But because sin also tries to reside in your heart, sin tries to take the concept of godly love and tries to pervert it. And that's why when most women give men their hearts, men have a natural tendency to spiritually hurt it. You want to know the difference between worldly love and godly love? Sister, you will never hear a godly woman tell you that God broke their heart. But you will always hear stories of women telling you that a man did. And brothers, don't make the same mistake that this man did. Misleading them to believe in promises you broke before they even came out of your mouth. Knowing that you had no intention of carrying those promises out. Just selling wolf tickets to get them howling at the moon. Because women give more than just their bodies when they cocoon your caterpillar. They expect to produce butterflies that soar through fields of endless dandelions. Not clipped wings from you dandelion. Just lying like it's dandy just to lie inside of panties, fam. Have you ever thought about the fact that the same game that you're running on them, somebody probably ran on your mother, which is why your father is not around. Or somebody ran on your big or little sister just to get her drawers down. And God forbid, somebody uses the same lies that you're telling these women or these men to impregnate your kid. Why do we never think about how our actions affect others until our actions affect us? Justify what we want, then convince ourselves that we're in the right until our consequences correct us. And it took me almost losing my life over another man's wife to realize the sin in my insincerity. To have a woman move out of a house, separate assets, and file for divorce from her husband so that she could marry me when I had no intention of doing the same. And it took a lot of women falling for this godly front to realize I wasn't just misrepresenting myself, but I was also misrepresenting Jesus' name. And it took a godly woman calling me out on my fakeness for me to change. And yo, I'm really glad she did. Because if I've ever had a testimony that Jesus Christ lives, The fact that I don't lie or manipulate women anymore for my own personal gain is. But I had to learn the hard way that heavy hearts aren't to be taken light. So the next time a woman or a man offers you their heart, don't take their hearts and ruin them like I did, but instead redirect their hearts to Jesus Christ.